Hello and welcome to this pattern recognition video featuring checkmates in 2. And if you're not familiar with pattern recognition, you want to basically solve a set of puzzles. And you can choose what type of patterns you want to work on. You could even do openings, you just go over an opening. Today we're doing checkmates in 2. But if you do these on your own or in other videos that I have, you can pick specific tactics to work on. And the idea is that you go over a set of puzzles multiple times, because if you just look at some puzzles once, you'll probably forget a lot of what you see. So if you go over them multiple times, up to 7 times, it'll hopefully transfer those patterns and tactics into your long-term memory, and you'll be able to use them in your own games. So let's begin here. What should you do first when you look at a position or a puzzle like this? Well, you want to ask yourself, what did your opponent's last move try to achieve? What did it change in the position? What's different now? Well, it looks like he pushed this pawn forward. And one bad thing I see about this is that it limited or took away an escape or a retreat square for the king. Now the king can no longer run out of these pawns that we have. So we're looking for a checkmate in 2. So normally you want to look at all checks first, because they're the most forcing. So after you ask yourself what was the meaning behind your opponent's move, because if they check you, of course, then you have to deal with that. But this move didn't do much, fortified this pawn maybe, took away a square that the king could have run to. So now, pause at any time if you want to think longer. If not, if we look at checks first, the knight could go here or here. So another issue is that the king is so limited on where it can go that we could try and move here, taking away all the possible squares that king could move to, because right now it could go there, but if we move our king over, it takes that square away. And then we have 2 options to checkmate the king with our knight, here or here. So I'm going to go here, and their knight could try and prevent us from going here by jumping up there, or going here to prevent us from delivering a check there, but he can't stop both of those. So we go there, and now of course we don't want to go here, the knight would take us, so we just go there, delivering the mate. All right, hopefully you found that one. And I set the rating level from 1500 all the way up to 2500. Even if you're lower rated than that, there's a checkmate in 2, so that should help you quite a bit. All right, on to puzzle number 2. What did this move achieve? It looks like a pawn captured something here. So now, is there anything we have to worry about? Do they have checks that could cause us a problem? I don't really see anything. All right, so we're looking for a check against our opponent, and we have, looks like a few different ways to check our opponent's king. We could maybe push this pawn here. We could move our rook here. The knight could jump up here, and this knight could go here. So, quite a few different checks. We're looking for a mate in 2. So, if we look at this rook move, this really limits the king, on what it can do. We deliver check. He can, remember, when a king is in check, there are 3 options: capture the checking piece, block, or run. And of course, if none of those are possible, then it's a checkmate. So here, you can't capture the rook if it moves to d6. We can't block. The king can only run, and the only place the king can run to is here. And it looks like we can deliver a mate with our knight there. So hopefully you found that. And checkmate, because we're not only delivering the check, but we're also protecting the rook so the king can't take that. And in general, it takes about 3 pieces or pawns to deliver a checkmate against the opponent. Sometimes more or less, of course, depending on what defense they have around the king. All right, puzzle number 3. It looks like we had the king in check with our queen. The king steps forward. And what checks do we have? Well, looks like we have quite a few checks. Of course, our queen can deliver a check here, here, here. Quite a bit of check possibilities with the queen, but most of them will just get our queen captured. So we probably don't want to go there or here because the bishop is covering that. Or here will just be captured. So that leaves here or here for our queen. I guess we could even go here as well. Now that move might be interesting if we drop our queen here because it'll prevent that king from trying to run for cover to e8. And then if we tried to deliver a back rank check, the knight could block. So maybe we want to go there to prevent that king from escaping. But then, do we have a good follow-up? Don't always just deliver a check because you can. Make sure there's some type of good follow-up. All right, if we deliver a check there, the king can't capture the queen, can't block, he can only run. He could run here, here, here. So I don't know if this is a good move because because it looks like there's too many squares where the king can just start running. And we're looking for a checkmate in 2. So maybe we do something different. Now, I was wondering if we go there, once again, the king could go there, and then that knight could swing in here to block checks. So I don't know, maybe we have to go there because that really limits where the king can move. And this is a great pattern. If you can place your queen on one of the corner squares around the king, making sure it's protected, of course, it delivers an attack through the diagonal and on 2 sides. And the only thing not covered by the queen would be these opposite squares from the queen on the side there, in the middle of the sides. So the king would really be limited. If we go there, he only has 1 move right there. And then it looks like we can just deliver a checkmate on our next move. So check and mate. Hopefully you found that one. And that's where pattern recognition really comes in handy, especially that little pattern that I showed you where the queen was here and it covered all of those squares, except for these 2. All right, on to puzzle number 4. We have the king that was in check by the rook, and it steps forward. But this is not looking too good for the king because he's really limited on where he can go. We have a bishop lined up, with a possible discovered attack if we move the knight. The pawn is helping to prevent the king from running forward. This knight is as well. I mean, if we look at checks first, we could look at, well, if we go here, the knight could capture. So, maybe, well, also, if we move this knight, unless it's a double discovered check, if we move the knight here or here, we deliver check with two different pieces, the bishop and the knight. So just remember, whenever there's a double discovered check, in a normal check, the king has three options: capture, block, or run. But when two pieces are checking the king at the same time, the only thing possible is for the king to run, because you can't block or capture two pieces at the same time. So, where is best? Once we move this knight, the king will be able to only go here. So, maybe we go here. The only place the king can go is here. And then we will be, and it'll be attacking our rook. So if we move our knight here, it protects the rook and delivers a check at the same time. So it looks like that will work. Check and mate. So here the three pieces worked in tandem. I guess we had four if you count this pawn helping as well. But that idea, that theme, that it takes about three pieces or pawns to work together to checkmate, and here it took, one extra pawn as well, because they did have some defenders around. All right, on to puzzle number 5. We have a queen that I believe was under attack here by the knight, and so it steps over. Now, one thing that's interesting, why didn't the queen go there, delivering a check, and then possibility of taking that? Maybe because they didn't want to deal with this knight move, delivering a check here, forking the king and the queen. So the queen is guarding that pawn, preventing the knight from, well, hold on now. The knight could still go there because of this discovered attack. And like I said, if you have a double discovered attack, you're going to have two checks on the king by the knight and the bishop. So neither of those pieces will be able to be captured because they're both going to be under attack, and the king will have to move. We just have to see. We could also go here as well. I don't know if that's any better. One good thing about that, it does prevent the king from going there and running away. Although if we go here, we can, well, we're looking for a mate in 2. So, all right. If we go there, this really limits the king on what he can do. He won't be able to go there. The bishop will be lining up through the light squares. The king can only go there. And then I think we can deliver a mate here. So check and mate. That was a pretty interesting pattern. All right, on to puzzle number 6. And that was rated 1795, so I don't know if we've had any over 2,000. And I have the settings up to 2,500, so we'll see. All right, puzzle number 6. Okay, the knight has jumped forward. What is that? What is that move trying to achieve? I guess it places the knight on this good outpost. Of course, if we take, the queen could take and deliver a check. But we're looking for ways to deliver a mate in 2. So we want to look at, first ask what was the meaning behind this move by our opponent? Did it achieve anything? Did anything change in the position? I don't know if this move has any bearing on us trying to deliver a mate. So we want to look at checks first. We could go there, but we would just be captured. But sometimes you want to look at checks that are even, well, I would say most of the time you want to look at checks that don't look possible because you might be surprised. Maybe the queen can go there because we have a rook lining up here and the bishop. But is that enough? Oh, okay. We have this discovered attack, or not discovered, well, a discovered mate threat. This is an interesting pattern where we have a rook queen battery threatening a mate right here. But the bishop is in the way. So if we could move that bishop out of the way and deliver a check at the same time, because checks are so forcing, the king would have to deal with that. So I think we can go here, delivering the check. And remember, when a king is in check, the three options are to capture, block, or run. But if the knight or queen capture the bishop here, with either of these moves, then we deliver the mate. So what are the other options? If they capture, that doesn't work. They can't block. Well, I guess they could block with the knight or the queen, but oh, wait a minute, that might change things. No, it doesn't. I was thinking if we go here and they block with the knight, then that knight will be pinned to the king, so we can still deliver the mate. So check, and we deliver the mate here. All right, hopefully you found that one. On to puzzle number 7. And what do we have here? The rook dropped back. What is this move doing? What are they trying to achieve here? I don't know. Maybe they want to push this pawn forward and then it'll be protected by the rook if we take it. And then that could open up a diagonal here on our king. But we're looking for checkmate in 2. So we do have this rook and queen battery lined up here. Problem is the king will be able to run out this way. So how can we deal with this? If we go there, if we look at all checks, they can just capture there. And then what do we do? All right. It doesn't work. If we move this knight, The problem is the king can run out that way, so that is the thing that we have to deal with. And how can we deal with that? If we move this knight, the queen could capture. If we deliver a check here or here with our queen, then the king can run through there. So that's not looking too good for us. Okay, maybe we can decoy the defender here away. But I don't think that gives us time to deliver a mate in 2. If we attack, he could just go, well, I guess he can't. Well, yeah, even if he goes there, he's still protecting that. So how do we get the mate in 2? This one's a little tricky. Oh, wow. Is there some type of queen sacrifice? Hmm. The only thing, I mean, we could go there, but remember, if you try to offer up a sacrifice, they don't have to take. You know, if we go there and they take, you know, we just go there, covering that, and the rook delivers. But then, you know, we have blocking moves, so that's not a mate in two. Wow. Okay, there must be something I'm missing here. Hmm. Wow, I hope you're seeing something that I'm not. Um, okay, if we just go there. No, that doesn't work. Okay, if we chase the king down to here, we have to be able to deliver a check with our queen. Oh man, this is crazy. All right, this one might stump me here. What am I overlooking? I hope you're finding the answer to this one. Um, okay, we should look at all checks first. So if we go there, they can just run out that way. Then what? Oh, then we go there. Okay, I hope you found that. And I guess we could go, what, here as well. Either move works. If we go there, the king has to run forward. Oh, no, wait. He can take. So we better really look at this. Huh. If he takes, oh, we got to go there because then we can deliver the double discovered check. Okay, man, this is a pretty awesome pattern. See, now both pieces deliver the check and the knight prevents the king from running forward. I hope you found that one. That one was a pretty crazy pattern there. And it was rated 2211, so no wonder a master. These, you know, they're rated 1500 to 2500 because I think they are found in games that were played by, you know, players of that level. So this was a 2211 player, I guess, that, you know, played this move or this pattern. All right, we're on to puzzle number 8. What do we have here? The opponent just castled. Is that a mistake? We can deliver a check with our queen here. We don't want to go here or the knight could take us. So check with the queen. We can deliver a knight move. Oh, if we go here with the queen, they could just block. You know, and then that'll prevent our mate in one. Okay, so maybe we have to do this first. We deliver the check. The king will be in check by the knight. You can't ever block a knight. So he can't capture. He can only run. The king could run here or here. It just doesn't look like there's a way to deliver the mate. Oh, okay, so we also have this move. But once again, if we do that, oh, that works, I think, because if the king goes here or here, we can just go there, delivering the mate. So check and mate. Hopefully you found that one. All right, 2 more to go. We're on to puzzle number 9. The knight has just jumped forward here. A developing move. But the problem is we have a discovered attack on the king. And this knight took away a square, a potential square the king could have run to. So maybe we can use that to our advantage somehow. Where can we move this knight so that the bishop can deliver the check and the king would only be able to go, well, if we deliver a double discovered check, and the only way we can do that is moving the knight here or here. Because if we go somewhere else with the knight, so the knight doesn't deliver a check, the opponent could just block our bishop's check with one of these pawns. So where do we want to move this knight? If we go here, knight and bishop will both be checking the king. And remember, when that happens, when 2 pieces are checking the king at the same time, you can't block both of them and you can't capture both. The king has to run, and the only place he can run to is here. And it looks like we can just capture this pawn and deliver a mate. So check and mate. All right, I hope you found that one rated 1850. On to puzzle number 10, the final puzzle. Okay, the last puzzle in this video, it looks like we checked the king with this bishop. So the king stepped back. What do we have possible here? Well, we have multiple ways to deliver a check. We probably don't want to go there, or they'll just capture. The king can just capture the bishop. The queen can go here, here, or here. 3 different well, there I guess as well, or here. What would be best? I think if we go here, maybe that's best, because then what are the options? And these are some interesting patterns. All right, if we go here, we're delivering a check. If the king, moves here or here, well, then our queen can just go there and deliver a mate. So once we go here, there's no way to capture the queen or block. The king will have to run. He has to run forward. And then we have a great pattern, once again, that I mentioned earlier in the video, where we go here, and then I'll show you that pattern. So we're going to go there. Okay, I guess I won't even be able to show you the pattern. If the king went here, then the pattern is we go there, and we're covering the 2 sides and the diagonal through the middle. And the pawn is preventing the king from going to the only 2 squares that the queen doesn't cover. But now we can just go there and deliver the mate with that bishop. All right, hopefully you found the answer to these puzzles. And remember to just solve puzzles regularly and to try and do them more than once, especially if you're trying to cement those patterns into your long-term memory so that you can use those in your own games. And feel free to let me know with comments. I always enjoy hearing what you have to say. If you want to request anything in future videos, or anything else you have to say. Thank you for watching. Like and subscribe to support the channel, and have a super chess day.